Raja Ram Mohan Roy was no reformer. He was just a stooge of British. He just served what his British master had said. What he did is just slavery. Yes, you click this video with sheer anger because you read this right. But these words don't belong to me. These words are from the theoretical physicist, technologist Mr. Abhijit Chavda. Well, who makes historical fact checks. Yes, he is the Chatur Ramalingam trying to become Ranchor Das Chanchar. However, how would you feel when you heard such words about the person whom you idolize since your conscience started to build? How would you feel? But this is not the most surprising thing. Here's more. When I just went through the comment section of his video, my belief crushed like hell. People are supporting his statements. And this is the new India, what we often talk about. Here's have a look what he is saying.
Okay, first of all, Raja Ram Mohan Roy was no saint. Okay, he was a British agent. He was a stooge of the British. When India's historians glorify somebody to the high heavens, it is a sure short sign that that person was a British agent.
Well, nowadays, breathing without lungs is quite easier than passing a criticism without knowledge. Yes, and first and foremost, before I comment anything on this guy, let me clear one thing that most people are unaware of. Especially the people who are not any content creator on the platform of social media. On this platform, creators just create for his or her certain type of audience. He or she just feeds what their audience wants. And you will find many things like this one in his channel. Let me clear one more thing, that I am not making this video to safeguard my Bengali identity because of this distortion of history. George Orwell once said, "If you want to destroy people, you have to deny and obliterate their own understanding of history." Losing your sense of history to a friendly fire is like a tragedy of nearly Greek proportion. Now the question is whether the revolutionary figures are above criticism. No, of course they are not. But this is not the criticism at all, rather this is the cynicism which apparently sounds revolutionary. Calling a figure like Raja Ram Mohan Roy a chamcha of British is a very bad choice of words. You know, even a stop clock gives the right times twice a day, but that does not mean that that stop clock is right always. Never. He says,
okay, I encourage you to look up Raja Ram Mohan Roy's true history. Everything is available online. Google Raja Ram Mohan Roy and look up what you find. Look up his own writings. Don't look up what other people have said about him. Those are opinions. I would like you to read what Raja Ram Mohan Roy himself wrote, the letters he wrote to the British administrators and the kings, and what he was saying in those letters. He was saying that we need to educate the Indians. Indians are backward. They still worship the Vedas. They still study the Vedas. Sanskrit is a backward language. We need to educate them. We need to liberate them from the chains of backward Hinduism, etc. Look up Raja Ram Mohan Roy's own writings and then you will know the truth about this stooge of the British.
Yeah, this was Roy's personal belief that Indians need introduction to the Western idea and education. He was greatly influenced by the idea of French Revolution. We all know this. He was influenced by the European Renaissance. He thought that the kind of surge of revolution could only be brought to India by westernizing its education system. And yes, he collaborated with Christian missionaries of Srirampur, but that does not mean he was their chamcha. He disgusted any kind of dogma and orthodox faiths. Roy produced 3 tracts between 1820 to 22, which portrayed Christ more as a moral figure than the religious one. And this so angered the Srirampur Baptists that they stopped publishing Roy's tract. An interest in Christ and Christianity, one has to say, proved to be quite pervasive among the modern Hindu intelligentsia. Swami Vivekananda translated Thomas A. Kempis' Imitation of Christ, and Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi had a lifelong interest in the ethical discourse of Christ. Now he says,
now, What about sati pratha? Right? So we are told that Ram Mohan Roy abolished this horrible barbaric practice. We are told that Lord William Bentinck, the great reformer viceroy of India, did an enormous favor to the people of India by abolishing this horrible practice of burning our women. So I would like to ask you a question, my friends. And I want you to ask this question to yourself and answer it for yourself. You don't have to answer me. Answer this simple question. In the living memory of your family, only your family, not the neighbor's family, in the living memory of your own family, is there any recollection of any of your ancestors, female ancestors or relatives committing sati? I have asked this question to countless people, and the answer is always the same. Not in my family. It's always somewhere else. It's in the textbooks. Now, who wrote these textbooks? It's the British.
Now the question is, who will tell us? Some old people, just roughly around 100 years of age, right? But sati was abolished in 1829. How can they tell an event happened 200 years ago?
You may have one or two random cases here and there, and those are then spread everywhere as if it is the norm and not the exception. This atrocity literature of sati, it's called atrocity literature. It was popularized by British missionaries who came to India with a singular intention to destroy Indian culture and convert everybody to their foreign religion. So to do that, they had to weaken the foundations of India's culture, and they had to portray India's culture as barbaric and primitive and backward. So they found a few here and there random incidences across the country, a few of them, and they started writing this atrocity literature that Indians burned their women alive when these women become widows.
He is saying there was no sati except from few cases of the elites. Here I am showing you the news from the Samachar Darpan, the first ever newspaper in India. I am showing some clips from Samachar Darpan archives with dates. You can read it. You can read if you are Bengali. Even I am putting the link of the Samachar Darpan archive on the description. This is not all. You will get bored reading. You know, between 1815 to 1818, the number of sati was 839, and this man is saying that there was hardly cases of sati. Now you will come up with the logic that this was only to defame Indian culture because Marshman of Sri Rampur Missionary was the editor of Samachar Darpan. Oh hello, Samachar Darpan was a Bengali newspaper and the Bengali pundits used to write for this. Well, let me tell you the truth. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was not just a saint, rather he was an angel for the women's rights. The first truest feminist of Indian Hindu women. He even persuaded the government to pass the bill for the rights of property for women. His contributions are endless. Roy had heard opposition from Hindu Orthodox back then and even now by some people who proudly call superstition to be their culture. So that's all. That's my thought, and it's not just my personal thought. This is the idea with the factual basis of history. So it is your understanding of history. What type of thing you will perceive? That kind of thought or this kind of thought? The choice is yours. And if you believe that calling Raja Ram Mohan Roy a chamcha of British is too bad, then please share this video in your WhatsApp group or to a friend in WhatsApp. See you in the next video. Till the time, goodbye.